爱的朋友，今天这一集也很特别，我们访问了在十月美国行的第三个城市 Kansas City 那一对接待我们的夫妻。他们非常的年轻，他们才20几岁，有一对非常可爱的姐弟。这段时间跟他们一起生活，跟他们分享，度过许多美好的时光。我跟涵雯有许多新的体验。
而这对夫妻在访谈中分享了他们婚姻生活的点滴，包括他们如何应对冲突、维系关系，以及平衡工作、家庭和教会生活。他们虽然年轻，却有着成熟的智慧。让我们来听听他们的分享吧。
Hello, my name is Mason Saffel. I'm a middle school teacher. I teach PE and weightlifting in Harrisonville. And for our church, I lead our youth group in student ministry.
And my name is Liz. I'm his wife, and we've been married for 6 years now. I work in various elementary schools near our town with special needs children, and in our church, I get to help with the childcare with little kids. I think because we got married when we were young, and so we have gotten to grow up together a lot, and so I think a lot of the changes we have noticed are not only as a couple, but just as we mature individually.
Personally, I think my biggest growth has been trying to understand how to be less selfish. And I'm still learning that as we go. But a big transition of just marriage has been learning how to be unselfish, and also that I have her to rely on as well. So I don't need to handle things in selfish ways. If I'm struggling with something or I feel overwhelmed or stressed, I've been able to rely on Liz more. And I'm still trying to do better at that as well.
And I think something for me personally is when I was younger and before I was married, I had lots of questions like, who will I end up with? Will I have children? What will my job be? And now that I have the answers to most of those questions, I still get questions or concerns from our marriage or things in life. But at this point, through the way God has led us in our marriage, I have experience to be able to trust that He will see us through anything that we might have or any questions I might have. I can remember that He will be with us because He has shown us through our marriage and as parents that He has been with us all of the time. So something that I think we've noticed as we have grown together is that it has changed a lot. Handle our disagreements better and to be more loving to each other when we have these disagreements. One of my older friends shared with me that whenever we are in a conflict, to just remember that we are on the same team. And I think that is something that has helped us, that when things are coming from the outside that we are having to fight or cause us stress, when we can remember that we are on the same team and our family is the same team, it helps us to not get mad at each other about something that is coming from the outside.
That is our biggest area of where we started to where we've gotten, is just not letting other things, outside problems, make problems for us. Whereas we see an outside problem, well, we work together through it, instead of maybe me being angry and then I come home angry and take it out on Liz or take it out on my kids. I can talk to her through that, so we are together against the bad rather than the bad coming in between us.
And I think that when we are able to work through problems, it makes us closer because we have accomplished it together, and that brings us together. This is another thing that I think each year we are together, we learn more and we grow more to know how to do this, because it is very hard for us. We both like to serve and we both like to help as much as we can, and it is hard for us to say no when we are asked to help and to do things. But when we are doing too many things, we cannot focus on what we really care about, our us together, our time with God, and our children. And so it makes us realize we have to choose, do we care about all of these other small things, or us and our family and our relationship with God? And that has helped us to learn how to set that and make it a priority. So in our family, we had made the decision that I will work less so that I'm able to be a better wife and a better mom and a better servant of God and friend and daughter and all of the different roles, which means we made the sacrifice that we will make less money, but in the long run, in the end, we think that less money is not as important as the time that we are being able to pour into our children and pour into our relationship instead.
And for me, how I balance my job and home is really I leave all the schoolwork at school. And so when I come home, I don't think about football or basketball or sports. I just spend time with family. And I'm very blessed to be working at a school that respects that. They know that my family is first, and I let that be known early on, and they've respected that. And so that really helps. With our church life and family life, we're so involved with our church that I view church as a time for our family also. And so our kids go to our Thursday night gatherings with us sometimes. They're with us on Sunday mornings. And so they view church as a fun place, which is very good. And so our church life is just a part of our life. So I don't think that there is a really big difference in separation. I think church and family and home life all kind of go together. My coaching is taking more time than we had kind of planned for. But again, I'm at a school district that really allows me to still choose family over sports. And I don't let the sports and the teaching take over my life. There's a time for that, but there's also the more important time of church and family.
So this was when we talked about it, because we started our family so young, we realized a lot of our favorite things are also with our kids, which I don't think is a bad thing. I think that we have our shared interests and we now get to bring the kids into that as well. But some of the things that we had talked about were traveling and hiking and being out in nature. We just really like to spend time outside, and I think that it always helps us when we are there. We get to really just be in awe of what God has given us in nature, but even just in our family. Yeah,
I think we both love seeing the beautiful world that God's blessed us with. Anything outdoors, anything that just is breathtaking, that we can just, I think, realize how lucky we are to live in such a beautiful world that God's blessed us with. But I also think that having our kids along with us is so enjoyable, because then we say that to each other, but we also tell our kids, like, look how beautiful this all is, and this is all God. And so trying to appreciate that within ourselves, but also help our kids understand that appreciation for just the beauty that we get to live in. The beauty on earth is just a glimpse of what the beautiness in heaven is going to be like. I think is very exciting.
And it's cool that from these conversations, from everyday things with our children, it can spark really interesting questions from our children about God, about heaven, about all of these really big topics that I think they might not even think of if we weren't having the everyday or getting to see God all around us every day. And having that intentional time together really gives us the opportunity for us to get to share what we believe and what we think. And I think that in such a formative time, it's good for them to hear that as they are growing up. So I think that that adds to that. We enjoy being in nature, but we also enjoy just the time together as a family when we're doing it.
That's what I love about our family being so involved with our church, is because our kids are constantly around just God's love, and people that love God and people that love our children, and then they get to experience beautiness in nature, and they get just, I think, a very full experience of really who God is at such a young age. And I think that will really help them as they develop and get older and life happens and all the craziness that happens. They have a very solid foundation of how great God really is. For me, my advice would be, if you're in a confrontation, an argument, one, to recognize, is it between you and your spouse, or is it an outside source? And if it's an outside source, don't make that come between you and your spouse. Recognize you're on the same team. And if it is between you and your spouse, don't take it personal. Don't attack, don't name call, don't do anything that could be hurtful, because sometimes you have emotions, and then those emotions are real, but those emotions can cause more damage than it needs to be. So go to your partner and just be honest with them, and be kind and loving and understanding, and work through that way rather than attacking, because when you attack, that just causes more friction. I look back at some of the times maybe we got in arguments or disagreements. It was all over something very, very silly or something very, very small that then turned into a big thing because one of us lost our cool, usually me. And so I think just taking a step back and just really thinking about, one, is this that big of a deal? Two, if it is, how can I handle it in a caring, loving way? Because at the end of the day, she is my favorite human on this earth, and I think I'm her favorite human on this earth. And so there needs to be no reason why we attack or want to hurt each other. Rather, find a good solution to the problem.
I would say, just whether it's as a spouse or as a Christian or as a friend or parent, to seek wise counsel, and also counsel of someone who has experience. I think that that's something that we've both benefited from, is having people that we could trust when we were going through something hard or going through something that we didn't know what to do with it. Having people who have gone through it to go to has been very helpful for us, but also just the fact that you are who you surround yourself with. And so to be really intentional about making sure your friends are the type of person you want to be, because who you spend your time around can really form you and really influence you, whether you want it to or not. And so I think it's important to just be aware of what you're taking in and who you're letting have influence over you.
And I think it is very important for just anybody that is married and a believer, you get some type of group together where you meet weekly or monthly or whatever that is, but just so that you can all together go through life. And so I think having a good community around you can just set you up for success. So whether you're newly married or you've been married for a while, just always remember to rely on God and let God guide you through everything, and do it together, not just one of you or just her. Both of you go together before God and just let Him bless you and guide your steps as you navigate this beautiful life that we get to live.